In this lesson we will make player's racket move. First you will learn if statements in C#. After that you will make rackets react to button press. Let's get started. In previous assignment I have asked you to complete several tasks. Let's briefly go over them in case you had any difficulties. Making ball move to the left can be easily achieved by setting ball speed value to a negative on x-axis. As for the making ball speed value tweakable inside the editor, I will do next. First I will replace hard-coded speed value inside x-axis with our ball speed variable. Now I will simply add public in front of ball speed and save the script. As you can see, now I can set any speed within editor, and ball indeed will move with that speed. As for the task 3, we can simply replace 0 with double ball speed for the y-axis value in our vector 3, which will result in diagonal movement. Solution for advanced task would be to create new public vector 3 variable, and instead of assigning new vector 3 to velocity values, simply replace it with movement direction vector. Ball rigid body dot velocity equals movement direction. As a result, just by setting different values for axis, you will achieve different movement direction and speed. However, this removes need of ball speed, which is not something we want. So let's bring our script to the state it was after completing second step of this assignment, and we continue from there. You already know how to make objects move, right? We have to follow similar procedure with our rackets. So first let's make sure player's game object has rigid body component. Add component rigid body. Now before doing anything, let's restrict movement and rotation on all axes inside rigid body component. The only axis we want to keep active is Y for position. After that is done, create new script and call it player racket. Double click to edit our script. This time we also want a tweakable speed value, public float racket speed with default value of 2. And again, we want to have access to racket's rigid body. For that let's create public rigid body variable and name it racket rigid body. Head back to Unity and assign rigid body component to our racket rigid body variable. One thing you will notice is that our ball does not bounce anymore off the racket. To make it bounce again, we have to significantly decrease its mass. So I will set it to 0.01. Now if you press play, ball will bounce again. Now comes the interesting part. For our ball we have applied a short impulse to define in which direction and at what speed ball will initially fly. With player rackets, however, situation is very different. We want them to move only when player is pressing and holding one of the keys. Let's say up arrow will move racket up and down arrow will make racket move down. In order to achieve this, we are going to use if statements. To understand how this works, let's make an example. We already have public racket speed variable in our script. Now let's compare its value to 0, and if racket speed is higher than 0, we print racket speed is higher than 0 to the console. Start by typing if. Now in parentheses we set our condition, which is racket speed higher than 0. Now open curly brace. Inside of these braces we place code which we want to be executed if our condition is true. Print racket speed is higher than 0 and close curly brace. Now before running game, in ball.cs script find the update method and comment out print statement. Now we are good to run our game. As you can see from the console, racket speed is higher than 0. This happened because by default our racket speed equals 2. Essentially, if statement is checking if condition is true, and if it is, code in curly braces will be executed. Let's upgrade our script and create if statement to check if racket speed is lower than 0. Run our game and indeed, you can see result in the console. Now set speed to 0, run the game and console is silent again. That means we need to create yet another if statement to check if speed equals 0. Notice that I am using double equals sign to compare if values equals to 0. As I mentioned before, in programming single equals sign is an assignment operator, which assigns value. For comparison, always use double equals sign. Now let's run our game and indeed, racket speed is 0. There is shorter and more flexible way to write if statements, and that is to use else statement. Our else statement can look like this. If racket speed is higher than 0, then print racket speed is higher than 0. Else print racket speed is lower than 0. Obviously we have an error here, in case speed will be set exactly to 0. In that case we will get console output stating that speed is lower than 0, which is not true. So there are 3 scenarios. Racket speed can be higher than 0, or it can be lower than 0, and it can be exactly 0. Let's see if you can figure out how to solve this issue using if and else statements. This will be your assignment for part A, and I will see you in part B.